Easy Explained Creative Evolution by Henri Bergson. Chapter 1, The Evolution of Life. Part 2, The Philosophy of Biology. So let's get into this. Coming out of part 1, still looking at duration a bit. Let's consider it in light of consciousness. So here, Bergson says that the continuity of change, preservation of the past into the present, real duration. The living being seems then to share these attributes with consciousness. So if you're enduring, if you're alive, with that is going to come consciousness. And we're actually going to get deeper into consciousness as this work progresses. Bergson's going to split it up and get some different domains to it. But for now, consciousness is also something that endures. And next we actually get to a big concept for Bergson, one that's associated directly with him. It's almost like his vocab word. Most of the time it's even left untranslated. And that is elan vital. When it is translated, it comes out to something like the vital impetus or the life force in English. But this is a huge one for Bergson. So here he says that life is like a current passing from germ to germ through the medium of a developed organism. So it's this idea that there is a life force, there's an impetus behind all life. It's part of the flux of time itself. It is operating behind endurance. It is the cause and effect of endurance. It is how life continues. And it just passes itself on, like current, enduring through time, from living thing to living thing. Big metaphysical concept, definitely getting more metaphysical and philosophical here, especially as we get into biology. But we still don't leave duration, right? This is a foundational concept. So Bergson says that we perceive duration as a stream against which we cannot go. Think the onward flow of time, past, present, to future, is the foundation of our being. And as we feel, the very substance of the world in which we live, right? Duration itself is the foundation of everything. It is reality, right? Reality endures, at least as long as we're experiencing it is. So let's consider this directly applied to philosophy of science, philosophy of biology. How does this all play out? How does this work? So Bergson says that real duration is that duration which gnaws on things and leaves on them the mark of its tooth. We do not think real time, but we live it, because life transcends intellect. Intellect being a part of consciousness, right? But consciousness is not life itself. Life itself goes beyond just consciousness. Yes, we can live life, we can think life, but life is something else, right? It is the elan vital, so, being part of this endurance. So let's look at what Bergson says about that, how life itself endures. And this is kind of coming back to his concept of elan vital. So Bergson said, it would be futile to try to assign to life an end in the human sense of the word. To speak of an end is to think of a pre-existing model, which has only to be realized. It is to suppose, therefore, that all is given, and that the future can be read in the present. It is believed that life, in its movement in its entirety, goes to work like our intellect, which is only a motionless and fragmentary view of life, and which naturally takes its stand outside of time. Life, on the contrary, progresses and endures in time. So life is, we live in time, right? That's a movie. It progresses. It is in time. It endures through time. Those concepts for Bergson are going to be directly tied up. And here I'd actually like to circle back to Darwin, right? We actually see a Darwinian influence here, and we're looking at evolutionary patterns for Bergson. Let's look at punctuated equilibrium, which is actually something that Darwin didn't quite consider as strongly as he did his concept of gradualism. Bergson starts to introduce some new ideas that are just as true. So he says species pass through alternate periods of stability and transformation. When the period of mutability occurs, right, that's changing, that's that transformation, unexpected forms spring forth in a great number of different directions. This is the evolutionary pattern of punctuated equilibrium. It's not always this slow, gradual process. Sometimes it happens very quickly in short bursts, just like this. Bergson also brings in some Mendelian genetics here. He looks at genetic linkage groups, some things that are inherited together through the life force. So here Bergson says that the law of correlation will be invoked, of course. Darwin himself appealed to it. It will be alleged that a change is not localized in a single point of the organism, but has its necessary recoil on other points. Right? He's pointing out that sometimes things are inherited together. Sometimes there are package deals. They go along. And at the big scale, right, if we look at how life evolves creatively, how it diverges, how things become more diverse and different from each other, this is the evolutionary pattern of divergent evolution. Bergson's going to say the vital impetus signs on to this as well. He says that life does not proceed by the association and addition of elements, but by dissociation and division. that over time life becomes more and more split up, diverse, separated, right? It's this fragmenting. That is the vital impetus at work. That's how we see it enduring by continuing to diverge itself. So this pretty much covers most of the big concepts in the first chapter, looking at duration, looking at the philosophy of biology. All of it kind of comes together and connects very metaphysically here. So for now, let's wrapping up chapter 1, and I hope it helps.